did you know about the payments?
Later on, I knew. Later on.
He didn't know the details of this until we knew the details.
I need to open up a company for the transfer of all of that info regarding our friend David, so that I'm going to do that right away. I've actually come up and I've spoken to Alan Weisselberg about how to set the whole thing up with
So what are we going to pay?
Funding. Yes, and it's all the stuff. All the stuff, because you never know where that company, you never know where he's going to be.
Gets hit by it.
Correct. So I'm all over that, and I spoke to Alan about it when it comes time for the financing, which will be.
Listen, what financing?
We'll have to pay you. So
I'll pay the cash.
no. I got no.
Hi, I'm Barry Gordon.
And I'm Andre Coleman.
And this is NewsRap Live at 5. What a great package.
That was amazing, wasn't it?
Danielle Ross, our producer.
Great job.
Boy, did that sum it up.
Yeah. that was a whole week.
I know.
And then some.
I know.
In about a minute, maybe a minute and a half. Great job.
Yeah, that was absolutely amazing. Well, folks, are we in a completely different country than we were in last week?
I think we're in a completely different universe, man. I mean, nothing like that has ever happened before. I mean, we don't even need to say, we will, of course, say what we're talking about. But we're talking about Manafort, Cohen, same day.
Same day.
The president is implicated. And even since then, it keeps blowing up and blowing up and blowing up.
Yeah, there was one picture missing because it happened today.
Yeah.
And that's a picture of the Allen that they were talking about. If you were listening to the recording of the phone of the conversation between Cohen and Trump, they were talking about an Allen, and that Allen is Alan Weisselberg, who is the chief financial officer of the Trump organization, and he has just been granted immunity,
Along with Pecker.
along with David Pecker.
A guy named Pecker.
Yes, who? What's his title? Is he the
He is
owner
the editor-in-chief.
Editor-in-chief
Of the National Enquirer. So dig this. A guy named Pecker was trying to kill a story about 2 porn stars. Can you believe that? I mean, who could write this if they tried? Think about that.
You're right. If they put that name in, nah, come on, too on the nose. You're
Dude,
right.
I could write headlines.
They wouldn't do
I
that.
could write award-winning headlines. Pecker leaking. Think about that. I could write award-winning headlines for months with this guy.
Oh, that's painful.
Dude, this
That's
never
painful,
ends. It
Dre.
never ends.
No, it never does end. But then
I mean,
there
Pecker
a-
is the gift that keeps on giving.
I
Think
know.
about it.
But there is an ending to this. We just don't know what it is yet. And the point is, are we ever going to get to an ending that is considered to be just?
Well, it depends on what you want to have out of this. If you want an indictment, or do you want Donald Trump out of office? Or do you want both?
I want justice.
Okay.
And in other words,
justice for everybody is not the
I would
same
love to
thing.
have Donald Trump out of office, but that's a political belief, right? What I'm talking about now is whether the rule of law and whether the concept of justice applies in the United States of America to the most important person in the United States of America,
that's
which
one
is
of the
the
reasons-
President of the United States.
See, folks, one of the reasons I love doing these shows, because Barry and I have done a variety of shows together, is because our points of view, we think the same, but our points of view are entirely different.
Right.
You are looking at justice, which is what white America is waiting for. Justice. We have to have justice. When do we get justice? I want what's fair.
Okay.
I want his ass out of office.
Okay.
And then we can get down with the what do we do next
Okay.
part of it. The first thing I want is I want him gone. after he's gone, we can get to indictments. We can get to what is just. We can get to what can we do, what can't we do. Now, I am well aware, though, it may not go the way that I want it to go, so what you say could entirely come into play.
Well, the reason I'm thinking that is because of what happened in the Manafort trial. And if you've been listening to the news on some cable stations, you've been hearing one of the jurors from the Paul Manafort trial, a woman named Paula Duncan.
I think we have a Manafort graphic, too.
I think we probably do. We can put that up while I'm talking. But Paula Duncan found that Manafort was guilty on all 18 counts.
Okay.
She is also a self-described Trump supporter. She believes that the Mueller investigation is a witch hunt. She believes that there's a conspiracy out to get Trump.
She believes in the deep state. She's drank the Kool-Aid.
She drank the Kool-Aid. She believes in the deep state. And what she's been saying is that she so wanted to find Paul Manafort not guilty. But once she saw the evidence, once the government put on its case, once she saw there really was no case from the defense, she voted that Paul Manafort would be found guilty on all 18 counts.
Well, I think any...
Now that I call justice.
See, I call that fair. I think any level-headed person...
Well, hopefully justice is fair most
justice
of the
is
time,
not
but it
always
isn't
fair.
always fair.
Justice
No.
is not always fair.
Certainly it's not always fair in situations involving the police, involving...
course.
Yeah, of course.
But I think any level-headed person could see that he was guilty as hell.
Well, there was one who didn't.
I said level-headed.
At least, yeah, there was one who thought that the government didn't... Well, they didn't find him not guilty.
Right.
No one found that he was not guilty on any of the 18 counts. One person found that he was... that the government had not proved its case beyond a reasonable doubt on 10 of the 18
But he's
counts.
not even off the hook. I mean, he faces
He's
another trial.
very far from
Okay.
off the hook.
Okay.
He's
Now,
dangling right
let me
up.
ask you this. All
Yeah.
these events that happened this week,
Yeah.
what is the biggest event? Which one of these things has the most weight and why?
That's hard to know because we can't read the tea leaves, but certainly I would think it was Cohen's statement that he committed two crimes.
Incorporation
And they
with-
are crimes. I mean, campaign violations are crimes. Now, there are little crimes, there are big crimes. This was a fairly big one, and he said he did it at the direction of the president.
And in cooperation with the candidate, but they meant the president.
Right.
He was the candidate at the time.
In cooperation with him, in coordination with him, and at the direction of him.
You know,
he told them to do it. So now the question is, did he tell Pecker to do it? Did he tell Weisselberg to do it? Did he tell his kid to do it? Those are the things that we don't we don't know right now.
I think we are now in completely uncharted water.
We are.
Because I'm going to tell you why. The world has been watching and waiting for information on Russia.
Russia. Yeah, right. I know.
This president could, if we get there, face impeachment not because of Russia.
That's right.
He could face impeachment not because of his conspiracy with Putin,
Right.
but his conspiracy with Pecker
Right.
and Cohen.
Well,
So it could be his American efforts to steal the election
Yeah.
that do him in.
Yeah, I think the big question is whether there are Paula Duncans in the United States Senate. Because let's play out this scenario.
Paula Duncan was the juror.
That was the juror.
Okay.
So right now, let's look at a situation. The latest Cook report says that the Democrats are predicted at this point to take between 20 and 40 seats.
Okay.
They need 23 to take back the majority of the House of Representatives. So there's a very, very strong likelihood that they will get the majority.
Okay.
they will then start the I word that I've been using more than impeachment these days, investigating.
Which could lead to impeachment.
And there will be a report that comes from Mueller, and that may well land with the Democratic House.
Okay.
In committees that are chaired by Democrats. Subpoenas will be issued. Anyone in the White House cannot refuse a subpoena. Records will be subpoenaed. Tax returns from the President of the United States are fair game. He cannot keep them out of the hands of the committee by law.
And the Trump Foundation.
Once all of that happens, if there is as thorough an investigation as we think there is going to be from Mueller, I would think at that point there will be articles of impeachment. Now, let me just explain a little of how it all works, because not everyone knows, right?
Okay.
Impeachment starts in the House of Representatives, and it requires a majority, just a simple majority of the House of Representatives to impeach him.
Right.
Impeach him does not mean
that he's removed from
remove
office.
him.
Right.
Impeachment is the word that we've been using on the criminal side, indictment. It's basically an indictment.
And a hearing.
And then
there's a hearing.
Well, there's a trial. Well,
a trial.
There's a trial.
Okay.
And the trial takes place in the Senate with members of the House of Representatives acting as prosecutors, right?
And understand, this will probably all be televised.
Or managers, impeachment managers.
And it will probably all be televised.
It will be. The entire Clinton impeachment was televised. Mm-hmm. So it will be. And then the House puts on its case for the Senate. The Supreme Court kind of acts as a little bit of a referee, right? They're the judge, right? I think it's the Supreme, Chief Justice who is the judge in the case. And then they need 2/3 of the Senate
to remove
him from office. Now, understand, no one's ever been removed. Andrew Johnson was impeached, not removed, by one vote. Nixon wasn't impeached.
He jumped out of the plane before it could crash.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So he resigned before anything happened. Clinton was impeached, not removed.
He beat it.
By a large margin.
Right.
Okay. So now the question is, if there really is a solid case, then do the Republican senators, because you're going to need Republican senators, whether or not the Democrats take back the Senate, you're still going to need a mix of Democrats and Republicans.
That's right.
And so the question is, a very simple one, will there be Paula Duncans in the Senate?
Will people see all the facts?
Trump supporters who want to find Trump innocent, who look at the facts, the way they're laid out, and say, you know what, I have to vote to remove him.
See, I have it completely different.
And I think if that happens, he will be removed.
I don't think any U.S. president will ever get to an impeachment vote again, because I think that they will always take a parachute.
Jump out of the plane.
They will jump out of the plane beforehand. Because you can cut a deal at that moment. You can avoid the indictment at that moment.
You mean a Pence pardon?
Yeah, a full and complete pardon by Pence. I don't even know if we ever even get to indictment hearings with this guy based on the pace we're moving right now. And a lot of people think Donald Trump has this huge ego. He's this tough guy. I don't believe it at all. I think that this is an insecure child who pouts, who's a Twitter tough guy. And I think that if they box him in and they find the right piece of evidence, if they find the right thing, he will bounce and he will bail out quicker than you can say Tricky Dick. He will be out of there. I don't doubt it at all. Because if he goes out on his own terms, he can always go on 60 Minutes and TV and say, I could have changed the world, but they forced me out. And then we probably will never even know everything. Yeah. We'll get a Mueller report, undoubtedly. But the other stuff, he can then begin to negotiate and plea away.
Yeah, go ahead.
And save his kids.
Yeah. If you want to get in on this conversation, by the way, you're more than welcome to. We do take calls. And our number is 626-794-8585. That's 626-794-8585. And we want to hear your comments and questions on Facebook as well. And we'll probably stay on for a few more minutes after the stream.
Hey, guys.
To join you. Hey, Danielle.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Good. So the stream is a little bit choppy, so
Okay.
we may not get any calls because it's going a little bit slow.
Got
But
it.
you guys are doing a wonderful show.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
so I wanted to let you know, to let everybody know to watch later, and we'll have the fully edited version.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And that's always a good thing is come back, look at the edited version. Sometimes there are bonus things in there, graphics, stuff like that.
That's right.
Check it out, YouTube.
They cut out the dead parts, you know. When we're kind of going, okay. They cut
YouTube,
that out.
the website, check it out.
Yeah.
So
So
I was saying I don't think we will ever get to that point.
we may not. I mean, to substantiate what you're saying, we heard the recording of Trump with Omarosa, where it was rather amazing because oh really?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were.
Yeah, you got
I don't.
fired?
I don't.
I didn't
love
know anything
this.
about it. I don't love this.
No. Oh, those.
Yeah.
Boy, I just don't know what's going on around me, do I?
So sad.
And then we hear how much of a micromanager he is,
Right.
that he signs every check, makes every decision. He said at one point he could be his own chief of staff.
Right.
He's saying he could run this investigation.
Even in the tape we heard, when Cohen says financing,
Great shot of Omarosa.
when Cohen says financing, he goes, financing for what?
I don't know. What is she doing there? Is that like, give me an amen? What is that? What
She
is
might be.
doing?
She may be trying to get the hell out of there, to tell you the truth. That's Don King to the right.
Oh, is it?
That is Don King.
Oh, wow.
Wow, all the players are there.
That's amazing.
We got something on flipping here we're going to show in a sec.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about that a little bit
Okay.
because you say he's non-confrontational, and yet he's the closest thing to a mob boss that's ever occupied the White House. And he proved it with this unbelievable. I mean, here you have, understand this. This is a democracy, right? At least we hope. It's a democracy. And one of the things that we do in a democracy, in England or here, we have trial by jury.
Right. Democratic Republic.
12 peers, right? Just people. And they make these decisions about other people's lives. I mean, it's an incredible system, right? And it's a great system. And so here, this jury comes out and convicts Manafort on 8 counts. And I haven't heard anyone talk about it this way.
Right.
And he comes out and says, "Oh, how terrible."
Well, let's let them see the clip.
And that, well,
Don't give it
not
up.
yet, because I'm not up to flipping. But he says, "How terrible," and "Oh, what a terrible thing has happened to Manafort." That is throwing trash on 12 jurors. That's what that's doing.
Yeah.
That's throwing trash on the very system that makes our democracy special. How anyone can watch that and not understand it, I can't believe. So then he compounds it. Now I'm ready to go there,
Okay.
because he compounds it by saying this.
Here we go.
You know, they make up stories. People make up stories. This whole thing about flipping, they call it. I know all about flipping. For 30, 40 years, I've been watching flippers. Everything's wonderful, and then they get 10 years in jail, and they flip on whoever the next highest one is, or as high as you can go. It almost ought to be outlawed. It's not.
It almost ought to be outlawed.
They make up stories.
They make up stories. And of course, any good law enforcement person is going to listen to that story,
Yeah.
totally believe it, go to court with it without any corroborating evidence.
Of course. They just make it up.
They just make it
Pull
up.
it up out of the sky. It's like saying, I know more than the generals.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's absolutely unbelievable. Do we have the clip? I don't know if we do. We were talking about having it, but I don't know if we do. But there's a clip where he also talks about the Justice Department and how Sessions hasn't had control of the Justice Department, and that he now says the Justice Department.
This is my favorite one. This
in
is my favorite one.
quotes.
Clinton, I mean, look at the crimes that Clinton did with the emails, and she deletes 33,000 emails after she gets a subpoena from Congress, and this Justice Department does nothing about it?
You know that's a Fox News reporter.
Yes.
Because the very first point you make or the question you ask him is, how did Jeff Sessions know before he got the job that you would come under this investigation? He said.
Well, the answer is he didn't.
Of course. But Trump said, hey, if I knew he was going to recuse himself, I never would have given him the job. He should have told me. So let me say this.
And it wasn't a choice.
Of course.
He had to recuse himself.
Right. And so since Trump has deemed me as an enemy of the state, which makes me his enemy,
Yeah.
I don't say or agree with anything he just said that he said his enemies think. I don't agree with that at all. I think Sessions was supposed to recuse himself. I think he had to recuse himself, as you just said. I think we have a couple of Facebook comments.
Okay, great. Danielle, are you giving them to us, or do we read them off?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
read it. It's just one for now. So
Okay.
Eric says Trump says that he thinks that if he gets impeached, the stock market will crash. What do you think of that?
Didn't crash when Clinton was impeached, and
No.
we had a much better economy.
No, it's never crashed when there's been a smooth transition.
Yep.
It just never has. I mean, presidents come and go, and sometimes very suddenly, and sometimes very tragically, and sometimes in other ways. And I don't remember the stock market completely crashing when Nixon
And I'll go a step
resigned.
further.
Do you? I would have to look it up.
Well,
but
Nixon
I
did have a
certainly
horrible
don't-
economy at the same time.
That's true, yeah.
But I'll say this. If it sinks like a stone, so what? I can't get past the hate,
Right.
the bigotry, the sexism, the lies, and now the crimes enough to care about what the economy does if he's taken out of office.
That's right.
We have to get him out of office no matter what. And then we can begin to deal with the effects after that. But to just go, oh, he should stay because the economy may crash. Well, let me say this. I'm sure that pre-Civil War, there was a Southerners going, well, we can't end slavery because we could all go poor.
One? Do you know how many?
That's why I said Southerners.
Do you know how many Southerners
Of
were
course.
saying that?
Of course. So, you know what? We should impeach him just for making a stupid statement like that alone, as far as I'm concerned. So that's where I am on that.
Absolutely.
And actually, Danielle had an amazing question on her Facebook page, and if you guys want to go there and comment on that, that's Danielle Ross. And why don't you toss that question out, Danielle, so I'll make sure. I think it was, and then you can correct me.
I said, so who's your pick for president? Looks like we're in the market.
So if Pence, and we know we get Pence next,
Yeah,
unless
we
he's
get Pence
indicted
next.
or impeached himself or resigns.
Yeah.
So if we didn't have Pence next,
Yes.
who would you want?
I will tell you exactly who I want.
All right, Barry knows who he wants.
I know exactly who I want.
Okay.
I want a person who will literally clean up the swamp. I want a person who has spent her entire life
Her.
cleaning up swamps.
Okay.
Who is the candidate for reform if she runs on anti-corruption, because she's done it all her life,
Okay.
and that is Elizabeth Warren.
All right. So Barry wants to break down that barrier. You don't just want to break down that barrier, but that's an added benefit, obviously.
Look at her background.
Okay.
Read the 3 or 4 books that she's written long before she ever knew that she was going to run for president. So it's not the kind of thing, oh, I've got to write a book because I'm going to be president. Read her books.
Okay.
Read what she said about Wall Street. Read what she said about government. Read what she said about, and right now, she's got a bill that says that a sitting legislator cannot own stock.
Wow.
I mean,
That's pretty good.
right now.
That's pretty good.
So she's been known for it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why they wanted her for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Okay.
It's her gig. It's what she does. No one else is going to do it better. And if we need anything right now, we need that. We need to get rid of corruption. We need to change our campaign finance laws. We need to clean up government so that we can have a government again that works for everybody and not for this handful of rich people.
And I'm sitting here thinking of who I would choose. You know, I'm going to go back to my original answer. I would want Kamala Harris on that ticket. She could be the VP, or she could be even to run for president. I want her on that ticket. I'll tell you why. California is the most progressive state in the union.
Yes.
And there are things happening right now in our local legislature.
Of course, Massachusetts ain't bad.
They're not bad at all. I'm not putting down anybody else. I'm just talking about where we live.
Okay.
There are things in our legislature and state legislature right now, police reform things, and even bail reform. One of the bills would, in fact, allow police to only use deadly force after every other means has been exhausted, including time, including waiting somebody out.
Okay, I'd rather have Kamala as Attorney General under a Warren administration.
Let me finish.
And then we can cover all of it.
No, let me finish.
Yeah.
And that's a great point, too.
Yeah.
At the same time, we have bills that would force more police transparency. I think the things going on in California in our legislature need to go around the country.
I agree.
So maybe Attorney General is a good spot for her, but I definitely need her to go up the ladder.
I think that, absolutely, and I think she'd be an incredible Attorney General, and then prepare
her for the next
get
step.
her ready for the next round. We're just about out of time, but
Already?
I wanted to do a very quick shout out to Todd Lawrence, who wrote to us, watched last week. I had said something about getting involved.
You did?
He got involved. He went to a community breakfast with Council Member Tyrone Hampton.
Good.
So do that. Get involved.
Yep.
Because, boy, are we going to need people who are citizens.
Push it.
All right.
We're going to Facebook.
We're moving to Facebook. This has been, I'm Barry Gordon.
And I'm Andre Coleman.
And this has been NewsRap Live at 5.